So we're going to look at door manners, which basically means enabling your dog to understand that you don't want them to run out of an open door just because it's being opened. It might be unsafe for them to do so, or it might be more helpful for you to be able to walk out first. It's a really good game for them anyway, in just practicing kind of stays with distractions and boundary games and a bit of impulse control at the same time. When we do this exercise, it can be helpful to have your dog on a harness and a long line, so that you can hold on to the long line just as a safety precaution. So if they were to go through the door, especially if you have a road close by, then you have hold of them at all costs. But what we want to do ideally is make it so that they don't bolt through the door and have a successful training session. So I'm just going to show you what an example of a dog bolting through a door is like. If I'm heading out of the door, most of the time I'm okay with Bosco and my two running out, and then I'll show you how to combat that afterwards. So if I pretend I'm just going out to do something, generally Bosco will run through and just run through the door. So he's not a huge detriment to us and himself, so it's not something that we're hugely concerned about. But obviously this is not always appropriate for everybody, so I can show you how to work on it to improve that behaviour. So we'll start with the door closed, and I'm just going to put Bosco here in a sit and ask him to stay. And I'm going to walk towards the door, open it, come back to him and reward. What you want to try and do is mark the moment that he is still while you're reaching for the door. Because we're teaching him he needs to stay still while the door is being opened or manipulated. What you want to do as well is try and work under his threshold level. So if I move towards the door and he starts to move, then I need to do a little bit less and make sure that he succeeds at staying in that one space. If your dog's very good at kind of targeting to a mat or sitting on a mat, then you can also have a mat to help them understand that that's where they need to stay and support them in that. So let me just grab him over here. Bosco. What's this? I'm just going to pop him into a sit. You want a distance away from the door that he can see what's going on, but also that you've kind of got a bit of an imaginary boundary with your body language to help him understand to stay as well. So I'm going to ask him to stay. I'm going to reach towards the door, good, and just say good, my marker word for staying, and reward. And repeat, stay. Good. And reward. So I'm watching his body language very closely, and I can see, good, when he's just getting interested to move, and that's where I stop and return to reward him. Stay. Good. And what I'm going to do is work up the stages to opening the door really slowly. So I might be able to do this quite quickly with Bosco, but you want to maybe do it over a couple of days, depending on how much training you can do. Stay. Good. So I'm now getting to the stage where I'm able to pull the handle down, and again the noise trigger of the door moving is enough to get the dog ready to bolt out. Stay. Good. Stay. Good. Stay. Good. Stay. Good. Stay. Good. Stay. Good. So you want to work out to being able to open your door more and more. What you'll find is that you'll probably get to a stage where you open it enough so that it feels open and your dog's more tempted to go through. So just watch that moment at which you open it. Good. And watch that body language and make sure you're closing the door again before they are tempted to Would agree. Right? That's it. Stay. Good. The boss is getting the hang of this, and he's actually just looking at me the whole time rather than looking out of the door, which is really what you want, because he's waiting for me to give him his next instruction, rather than focusing on what's outside and on the other side of the door. Stay. Good. Stay. Good. What you can do as well, then once you've got the door open, stay, is good. Increase the duration that your door is open for. Good. Good. And as long as you have that attention from your dog, continue to reward. Sometimes you can let them through, sometimes you can close the door. If both things happen in real life, so get them used to understanding that it may not mean that they get to go through just because the door's open. You might have opened the door to the postman. And then what you can start to do is have somebody come to the door. As if you start off with somebody that's not very exciting, for example another member of the household, and they can stand and be very boring, stand very still, and you can do the same exercise. Obviously then you need to just be patient and wait for you to be able to open the door, but then you have a dog that's able to sit next to you at the door while you're talking to somebody outside, and you can work up and build up those distractions.